Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to another episode of 5 Cool Knives. 5 cool knives that you should check out as soon as you have an opportunity. These are all not categorized in any specific way. They're not in any particular price range. They're literally just knives that I think are cool. Some of these are available right now, and some of them you might have to hunt for a bit, but they are definitely cool, and I will link them right down below so you can check and see if they are available. It does help my channel when you use my links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get started here with one that is not so expensive, and this is kind of surprising. It is a CIVIVI knife that is a little bit different, right? It's kind of nice to see something from CIVIVI that's not just shaped like the Elementum, right? Not that the Elementum is bad, it's a great knife. It's interesting. This is called the CIVIVI QSP or QSP. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. This is a $65 knife with CIVIVI's typical super high quality for the money. We are looking at, as far as I'm aware, Nitro VA. You can just barely see it right there. It's an O-Stap Hell design, which is a name I'm becoming a little bit more familiar with. In any case, this is a really interesting little front flipper, which as soon as you get it, you'll get it every single time, unless you're me, and then you'll mess up every now and then. But it's got a really cool slanted Wharncliffe blade, and it's also one where the entire blade will lay flat if you need it to. So if you need to do a little bit of light kitchen prep, you can do it with this knife. I just appreciate that we're doing something different here, and CIVIVI even put a different clip. It's not my favorite clip in the entire world, but it is definitely cool. This is G10, probably their new glass blast that they've been doing on their blades. I like how the jimping extends up all the way, almost to the point where the swedge and the downward slant of the tip of the blade starts to occur. Really cool, interesting, absolutely. I have not done a review on this knife yet, but there is one coming if you're interested to hear more about it. Let's move on to something that may or may not be available, Jeez Louise, depending on when you're watching this. This is the new mini Penguin from QSP. Yes, that's right, they did a mini one, and I feel like I should have seen that coming. This will likely be very inexpensive. What we're looking at here is 14C28N, not D2, although it wouldn't surprise me if they do a D2 version. This one, actually, if you saw there, it says sample, which means depending on what they decide to do, it may be different a little bit, the one that you actually pick up. My guess is that this thing, when it becomes available, is gonna come in at between 40 and 50 bucks. If it is available, I will absolutely link it. The original Penguin, which I will also link down below, is one of the least expensive, has the best like cost to utility ratio. I think those things originally came in at like $32. It's like one of the knives that I tell people, if they're like, I just want a good knife, I don't know anything about knives, I just want a good one. QSP Penguin, right? It's really cool they made a little one if you live in an area where your blade length might be a problem. This is a great one. I also like that you can get your index finger up here. This is a, should I say Wharncliffe? I don't know. The sheep's foot, people get mad at me when I say Wharncliffe, and the Wharncliffe, people get mad at me when I say sheep's foot. So it's a sheep's cliff or a cliff's foot or whatever you want to call it, right? Octopus High Five Saturday Surprise is what I've been calling these things lately. Yeah, this looks great, and the pocket clip is good. I mean, it's literally the Penguin. It's just smaller. Nice work. Good job, QSP. Also one that I have not yet reviewed, but rest assured, there is a full comprehensive review coming. Let's move on to something that's a little bit more expensive, but I think absolutely justified. This right now, a lot of people are sleeping on this. It is underrated, and it's one of my favorites of the group here today. This is the very large OffGrid Stinger XL. I love this knife. This is, as far as I know, OffGrid Knives is still using Bestech as their OEM, and if that is the case, it shows because the quality on this thing is awesome. This has a gigantic spear point blade. I mean, it's like a tiny, it's literally like carrying around a tiny broadsword in your pocket. 154 cm, which is excellent. We have a steel liner lock. We have beautifully shaped G10 scales. Now this guy is the tan and the gray wash finish, which is my favorite. Off-grid, you should really do black G10 and gray wash. But they also have an all black one if you want to go black wash and black G10. You can flip over the excellent pocket clip. My God. excellent. This pocket clip is excellent. What a weird thing to zero in on. But seriously, with a knife that is definitely meant to be taken out and used hard, it's nice to have a pocket clip that is not digging into the middle of my hand. Seriously, this thing is awesome. These come in at $97, and I think it's completely and totally justified. Wonderful, wonderful quality. It's just a joy to sit around and flip as well. No wrist needed. It really has an excellent detent. You can flip the clip over if you are left-handed, right? So lefties, you're still dealing with a right-handed liner lock, but as you can see here, a right-hand dominant person is very, not having any issue manipulating it. Really, really cool. Another one that I have not done a full review on, but I will absolutely be doing that. This is the OffGrid Stinger. It is definitely available and definitely recommendable, especially if you're looking for a larger knife that is still within the parameters of reasonable for day-to-day carry. Big fan of this one. Nice work, OffGrid Knives. Moving on here, another one that's a little bit underrated right now. This one's definitely a little bit more expensive. We're kind of going, it's not perfectly in order, but we're kind of going least expensive to most expensive here. This is the Artisan Cutlery and Ferrum Forge Valor, which is a really cool looking knife. I love how they did the milling here and how it connects in with the blade right there. This is a titanium frame lock running on bearings and utilizing S35VN, which I honestly think is a better choice for this geometry than M390, but people automatically expect M390 because they for some reason view it as universally more premium. Anyways, I digress to steal that phrase from Nick Shabazz. This is a typical Ferrum Forge fashion with the forward choil there. Lots of F's in that sentence, but you still have excellent ergonomics behind the flipper tab. The pocket clip is also 3D milled and nicely radiused on top, so no uncomfortableness while you're doing a hard grip. The blade shape is not quite, it's kind of like a modified drop point, kind of approaching what you might call a sheep's foot, but I don't really want to get into that because I always get corrected anyway. Nice tumbled finish on the blade. This is definitely a premium knife, and it feels like a premium knife. Fortunately, it does not have a price tag that is similar to all of the other companies who are making literally this exact same type of stuff right now. Usually we see this type of knife in the $250 to $280 department, but I'm happy to report that Artisan Cutlery decided to charge $200 for this, which I think is very fair. Again, the Artisan Cutlery Valor is one that people are sleeping on right now, and I think many people, especially people who really enjoy Ferrum Forge designs, would really, really like this. This is definitely a cool knife, and if you've been on the fence about it, don't be. It's awesome. And finally, we have to put something in here that's made in the United States. If you didn't know, everything I've shown so far is not made in the United States. That's part of the reason the prices are as low as they are. It depends. There's a lot more detail. I'm making that really black and white. There's a lot more that goes into that. But definitely one of the more interesting USA-made knives around right now that you're gonna have to dig a little bit to find. You might have to wait and just be patient, but it's worth it if you can get your hands on it. And that's the new Hinderer Maximus with the tri-way pivot system. That's right. Those of you who are familiar with Hinderer knives, they have added the tri-way pivot system to this bad boy. Previously, on the Maximus and many models from Hinderer, you were confined to only nylon washers in the pivot, but now, with the not so newly released tri-way pivot system, they've been slowly adding to this to their line. I can't remember. When did this come out? Like 3 years ago? 4 years ago? You can now add bearings, phosphor bronze, or nylon, and it comes with all three. The Hinderer Maximus has always been cool because it's one of the only truly symmetrical folding and flipping daggers, meaning the blade actually disappears entirely into the handle and you can manipulate it without touching the blade. This particular version does not have a sharpened spine. This is an unsharpened bayonet, but they do make a version of this in dagger form, or they will very, very soon. The previous ones that were non-tri-way, you can still find the dagger versions out there, but I would wait until you could get a tri-way one. Why? Even if you like nylon, the detent feels a little bit better. The action is stupid smooth on this thing. These are truly USA made, and right, people always like to say, I can get a USA made knife for $100. Yeah, but a lot more of that knife may not be 100% USA than you think. These knives, the Hinderer knives, are truly made in the USA. Everything except for, I think, the bearings inside the pivot. Every other part, including the screws on this knife, are actually made in-house by Hinderer. So you will be paying much more. These are a smaller batch. These are hand-tuned and assembled and completely and totally manufactured in-house. So likely you will be paying anywhere from $425 to $465 for base models. Depends on the configuration. If you get something that's anodized like this guy, you might pay a little bit more. Special variants will go for more, but safe to assume standard pricing, which is $425 base, that's what you're gonna pay. Being somebody who has bought many Hinderers, and by many I mean literally over 35 Hinderer models, I would highly recommend Hinderer knives, especially if you're looking to spend big bucks on an American-made knife. These are excellent, and the Maximus is really unique in the sense that it is truly a folding dagger. If you're thinking that looks familiar, I feel like Kershaw makes something like that. They did. They made something called the Decimus, which was based on this guy. A lot of times the Hinderer stuff that you see through Kershaw is just the inexpensive Hinderer variant that Kershaw produces, which is sometimes made partially in the USA, and sometimes there's full Chinese versions, but it's based on this, which is the actual USA version, the actual Hinderer version, and this is a super, super cool knife. This one I also have not reviewed, but I am very, very excited to talk about this guy. I think that's going to be pretty much it today. Let me go ahead and line these guys back up. Like I said, some of them are going to be available and some of them are not. The Hinderer Maximus, you're going to have to hunt a little bit. The Artisan Cutlery Valor, you can definitely get right now. The OffGrid knives, Stinger XL, you can definitely get right now, and like I said, that one is just really, really fun. The QSP Mini Penguin, it should be releasing soon if it is not already out. You can use the link down below to check it out. And then this guy, the CIVIVI, which I did not mention, you can absolutely top flip it if you want to. This is also available. Very, very cool. Make sure you guys use the links right down below to check these knives out. That's going to be pretty much it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.